Welcome to students. Today again we are going to continue with the same things. So, let us have a quick recall of what we have already done. So, for us X is always a matrix space. We will see whether X is compact or not, it depends, and XF is a dynamical system. So, with this preliminaries, we have already seen the concept of a periodic point. So, we say that if there is a point x in X for which there exists an n in N such that if n x is equal to x, then we say that x is a periodic point and n is, if the least such n which satisfies this is called the period of x, and we denote by P of f the set of all periodic points in X, but naturally f denotes that we are considering the periodic points of f. We had seen a bit generalization of this concept of periodic points, and that was our recurrent point. So, what do we mean by a recurrent point? So, we said that x and x is a recurrent point if, now we have seen many equivalent conditions of recurrent point, and one of them which I want to state here is that you have a sequence, there exists a sequence Ni such that f to the power Ni of x is converging to x, right. This is one of the equivalent conditions which we had seen yesterday, and we had seen that the set of all the recurrent points happens to be, which we had denoted it as Rf. So, Rf is the set of all recurrent points . There is one more concept which we had seen yesterday, that is the omega limit set, which is the limit set of a point x, and we had seen that for a recurrent point, right, x belongs to omega x, right. So, this is what we had seen. Now, again let us recall here what we see over here, the difference between periodic point and recurrent point, that every periodic point is a recurrent point, in the sense that what happens in a periodic point, whatever be the period, suppose n is the period of a periodic point, then after n iterations the point comes back to itself, right. So, again we have this constant sequence Ni becomes the period, basically it becomes a multiple of the period, right, there is a constant, and then this becomes a constant sequence which converges to the periodic point. So, every periodic point is a recurrent point, but every recurrent point need not be a periodic point, and we had seen these examples also. So, we look into this concept and we see that this recurrence gives us some kind of a generalization of periodicity. Now, what happens here is that the point does not return back to itself. For a periodic point, maybe we can say this concept that supposing I have my P to be a periodic point, then after finitely many iterates, right, comes back to itself. But if my x is a recurrent point, then the point x does not return back to x itself, but it returns back arbitrarily close to x. So, maybe in the next step it returns back arbitrarily close to x, and so on. So, what happens is a point is returning its arbitrarily close to itself. Now, we want to approximate this point, that we do not want to look into the point itself, but we are saying that okay fine, there is approximation of returning back to itself, right. So, instead of x, if we try to say that no, we are not interested just in the point x returning back to itself, maybe a neighborhood of x returns back to itself. So, a slight approximation where we are basically kind of blurring out the existence of x, or basically blurring out the position of x, right. So, we are blurring out the position that gives us the concept of what if we think of a point and we think of its neighborhood returning back to itself. So, that gives us another notion of recurrence, and we call such a point. So, we say that a point x in X is said to be a non-wandering point if for every neighborhood. Now, when I talk of neighborhood, we are only talking of open neighborhoods, right. If for every neighborhood u of X there exists say a natural number n such that u intersection f n u is non-empty. Now, when I am taking n, definitely what I mean here is that my n happens to be greater than or equal to 1, right. So, what we want is that for take a point x, take any neighborhood of u, right. We are not sure what happens to x, we are not sure what happens to the iterates of x, whether they return back to themselves or not. But what happens is that if you take the neighborhood of u, there will be some point in u which returns back to itself after some time. And if this is true for every neighborhood u of x, we say that x happens to be, we call x to be a non-wandering point. We denote the set of all non-wandering points as omega f. So, now we are looking into the capital omega. So, this is basically the set of all non-wandering points if my omega f turns out to be equal to whole of x, that means every point is non-wandering, then we say that the system is non-wandering. So, if omega x equal to x, then we say that the system x f is non-wandering. Now, we want to typically recall what all can be wandering points and what all can be non-wandering points. So, the concept of non-wandering also gives us what happens to its complement, means not all points can be wandering. So, what are the points which are non-wandering, right? So, we say that a point which is not non-wandering is called a wandering point. Now, what is the characteristic of a wandering point? So, we say that x in X is wandering if there exists some neighborhood u of x such that u intersection f and u is empty, right, for all n in n. That means there exists a neighborhood u of x such that this neighborhood never returns back to itself, it just keeps on roaming wherever it wants to roam, it just keeps on roaming, but never comes back to itself. So, such points are called wandering points, and we are not going to denote the wandering points by a specific name. So, since we know that a point can be either wandering or non-wandering, right, we can say that the set of non-wandering points will be omega f complement, right. So, the complement of omega f is the set of all wandering points. Now, we will come back to say some kind of examples here, since we talked about non-wandering points and wandering points, and I want to recall the examples that we did previously. So, I want to recall all those examples here again, and we start with this first example which we have already done earlier. So, our space X is the set of all 1 by n, n in n union 0, and our mapping F was x by 2. And we have already studied this example, and we had looked into the set of recurrent points here, which happens to be just singleton 0. What is the non-wandering point here? What is this equal to? Again 0, right? Because no other thing, because all, see, if you look into all other points of x, they are all, there is a discrete topology, right, on each of, on the rest of the x excepting 0. What happens there? It only keeps on wandering, right. So, basically if you look into the rest of x, all the points excepting 0, they are all wandering points. Only 0 is the non-wandering point here. Let us look into the next example. So, the second example that we had seen was the set of all natural numbers, right, and then we were looking into the map x plus 1, the translation here. So, what happened here? We had seen that the set of all recurrent points was the empty set. What can you say about the non-wandering points here? This will also be empty. The third example we had seen was the positive half real line, and the system that we had considered, the map on it we had considered was root of x. We had already seen that the recurrent points here are just 2 points, right, 0 and 1. What happens to the non-wandering points here? Just want you to look into it. Okay, 0 is non-wandering. Anything else? 1 is also non-wandering. What happens to the rest of the points? They are all wandering points, right. So, the rest of the points are all wandering. You have only 2 points here which are non-wandering, 0 and 1. Now, typically we go back to another example, right, and here we have the example of the rotations on the circle, and we first looked into the irrational rotation, and we found that in an irrational rotation we do not have any periodic point, right, but every point is recurrent. This is a minimal system, so every point is recurrent here. What can you say about the non-wandering points here? That will also be the whole of x, right. And what happens now for a rational rotation? Now, the difference here is in the rational rotation we have every point to be a periodic point of the same period n, right. It is a periodic point of the same period n, and a periodic point is a recurrent point. So, we had that the set of recurrent point is whole of x. What happens to the non-wandering points here? Will be whole of x. So, with these examples, right, we can now state a proposition here. We will try to prove that also. So, let us try to state a proposition here. Now, I am already considering that whatever we consider is for our system xf. So, I may not repeat xf again and again, right. So, we have the first thing we have is every recurrent point is non-wandering. In other words, I can say that Rf is basically a subset of omega f. The second part we can say here is that if my Rf is dense in x, then omega f is whole of x, the non-wandering point is the whole of x. And in particular, if P of f, the set of periodic points, is dense in x, then every point is non-wandering, right. So, we can say that the system is non-wandering if it has a dense set of periodic points, right. The third thing is, if my system is minimal, then again non-wandering points is the whole of X, and we try to look into the proof of this, although the proof here is really very simple. Now, think of that, I am looking into a recurrent point, right. So, if I try to look into the proof of 1, right, we are looking into a recurrent point. So, a recurrent point means my X is a recurrent point if I can say that X belongs to small omega x, right. So, it belongs to its limit set. Now, since X belongs to its limit set, right, what does it mean? There is a sequence converging to that, right. So, we have already discussed this. This implies that X belongs to capital omega f, right, difference between small and capital, and hence we can say that RF will be always a subset of omega f. You can write, it could be equal also. Let us look into the proof of second one. Now, we know that RF is dense in X. We are not sure of anything else, but we know that RF is dense in X. So, let us assume that then we want to show that omega f is the whole of X. So, let us start with any point x in X and we take an neighborhood So, we are starting with a neighborhood u of x. Take any point x in X and start with a neighborhood u of x. Then we know that RF is dense in X, right. Since RF closure is whole of X, right. So, RF intersects is non-empty, right, and in fact, I can take some point y, in RF intersection u. So, that means there is a point y in u which is recurrent, and what does that mean? Y is in u, right. So, there will be another point, there will be an iterate of y also which is in u, right, and so there exists f and y will also belong to u, and hence I can say that u intersection f n of u is non-empty. So, my x belongs to omega f. So, take any point in X, it belongs to omega f. So, I can say that my omega f will be whole of X. Now comes the proof of the third part, right. So, maybe let me write it somewhere here. So, what happens to the third part? We know that what is minimal. We know that if the set is minimal, if the system is minimal, then every point is a recurrent point, right. So, since the system is minimal, my RF is whole of X. Already the first part we have seen that RF is a subset of omega f, right, and so I can say that my non-wandering points is the whole of X. Let us now see, we had seen some examples which are very trivial examples. Let us try to look into some more examples now here. So, let us look into some more examples here. Specifically want to recall, so I am writing it, the first example here, we recall the tent map. I think we have already studied the tent map, right, on 0 1. So, the tent map is given as T x equal to 2 x, right, for 0 less than x less than or equal to half, and it is twice 1 minus x when you have half less than or equal to x less than or equal to 1, right. So, we recall the tent map on 0 1 and we recall some of the properties of tent map that we had studied, and one of the properties that we had studied was that in the tent map the set of periodic points is dense, right. So, we had studied here that in for the tent map, right, P of t, right, closure was the whole of 0 1. Now, since the set of periodic points is dense, right, periodic points comprise of like these can be considered recurrent points. So, recurrent points are dense, right. Since recurrent points are dense, we know that in this particular case the set of non-wandering points will be the whole of 0 1, right. So, again our tent map seems to be it is a non-wandering system, right. So, we can conclude that the tent map, the tent system I should say, is a non-wandering system. Now, I want to recall again one more example which we had discussed earlier, and that was the shift system, right. So, the shift system which we had denoted by capital sigma small sigma, right, which is the set of all sequences of zeros and ones we had considered, and this was just the right shift on the set of sequences, and we had seen that the shift sequence was basically topologically conjugate to the horseshoe attractor. So, write the dynamics on the horseshoe, right. So, this was the same stuff. Now, I am looking into the same system here again, and again over here we had seen that the set of periodic points of sigma, right, was dense in sigma, right. So, the set of periodic points was dense, and so in this case also we can say that the non-wandering points is the whole space here, and so we can say that the shift system is also a non-wandering system. Now, there is one more thing which we had seen yesterday was this notation NXU. This is the hitting time set, and this was the set of all x, sorry, this was the set of all n in n such that f n x belongs to u. Now, the set of all n in n for which f n x belongs to u, now we can think of generalizing. So, this is the hitting time set. Now, we can slightly generalize this to accommodate something more. So, what do we mean by n? I am looking into u and I am looking into v. What is that equal to? So, now I can say that yes, I can say that there is a point x in u, right, which hits v, right. So, and since there can be many x in u which hit v at different times, right, what we can say that this is the set of all n in n such that f n u intersection v is non-empty, right. So, basically we are looking into all the instances n for which there is some point in u which hits v, right. So, we look into this definition, we can just look into this definition again. So, this is the notation NUV, and again we call this as a hitting time set, right. And here we have a proposition here. So, let u be a neighborhood of okay. So, let x belong to omega f, right, and then we can take then for every neighborhood u of x, the hitting time set NUU, right, is infinite. This is interesting. You can look into the proof of this, which means that if I am starting with u, then there is a point in u which intersects u again, right, which hits u again, right, and that happens infinitely often. So, the proof here is actually very simple. So, we start with a neighborhood. So, let u be a neighborhood of x, but naturally my x is in omega f. Now, there are two phases here. It could be possible that this x in omega f could be a periodic point, right, since the set of periodic points is contained in omega f, right. So, it could be possible that x is a periodic point. So, if my x belongs to P of f, then I know that there exists an n in n such that f n x is equal to x, right. And so, what happens here is that if I take the set of all k times n, n in n, sorry k in n, if I take the set of all k times n, then that will always be contained in NUU. So, my NUU is infinite. So, in that case my NUU happens to be infinite. So, I am particularly supposing now that x does not belong to P of f. So, suppose x does not belong to P of f. Now, what happens in this case? So, all we want to show is that we want to show that NUU is infinite. So, what we want to show is that we need to show given any k in n, right, there exists an n greater than k in n such that f n of u intersection u is non-empty. We can show that for any k, I can get a larger one for which this is non-empty, right, we are done. So, that is what we propose to show here now. So, let us assume that k, so let us assume that we are already fix our k. So, supposing we fix our k, so if k belongs to n, we are fixing one k. Now, we know that this point x is not a periodic point, right, and so these are all distinct points. Right? These are all distinct points, right? Since my x is not a periodic point, they are all distinct points. Now, since they are distinct points in x, starting with a metric space, then we know that they will all have disjoint neighborhoods. And I can think of disjoint neighborhoods, everything, each neighborhood disjoint from the other, right? We can always assume that part. So, we say that they have disjoint neighborhoods, say. I am saying that I am talking of disjoint neighborhoods respectively. So, say I have a neighborhood of x which I call as v, right, then neighborhood of f x which I call as w1, neighborhood of fkx which I call as wk respectively. So, all these neighborhoods are disjoint from each other. Right? Now, what happens after that? So, I am now defining vi prime to be equal to f minus I of Wi intersection V. Now, I know that my point x belongs to V minus I Wi, right, and definitely it belongs to V also. So, this V I prime happens to be a neighborhood of x. So, I am saying that V I prime happens to be f minus I Wi intersection V for all I 1 to k. That is quite possible. So, I have V I prime is a neighborhood of, but it is quite possible that each V I prime, right, need not be disjoint from Wi. It is quite possible here, but still we are taking intersection with V, it will be disjoint from Wi. So, what we are starting is V I prime is a neighborhood of x, right, and if I am looking into V I prime, and I am looking into f to the power I of V I prime, right, these two sets are disjoint. By construction, these two sets are disjoint. So, these are disjoint. Now, since these two sets are disjoint, right, I can think of another definition here. I take V prime to be the intersection of all V I prime, right, I going from 1 to k. Then what we observe here is that V prime is a neighborhood of and furthermore, if I take V prime, it is disjoint from V I prime, V I of V prime, right, for all I going from 1 to k. So, it is not just that these two are disjoint, right. Now, we have that this V prime is disjoint from each one of them, right. So, we have this set V prime which is a neighborhood of x, and this is disjoint from each one of them. And now, we define U prime. So, we started with, if we recall what we started with was that we wanted to show that we started with a neighborhood U, right, of x, and we wanted to show the existence of an n greater than each and every k, right, such that f n of u intersection u is non-empty. So, now what we have landed up is just V prime. So, what we take is we take our U prime to be the same U intersection V prime. So, we take U prime to be U intersection V prime. Now, when U is U intersection V prime, we define this part, then my U prime is a neighborhood of x. And my x belongs to omega f. So, that means there should exist, since x is a non-wandering point and this is a neighborhood of x, there should exist an n such that f n of u prime intersection u prime is non-empty, right. So, there exists is non-empty, but what is this n? This n cannot be 1, this n cannot be 2, this n cannot be 3, right. This n cannot be k because of the construction of u prime, and so my n has to be greater than k. Now, what was my u prime? My u prime was anyway a subset of u. My u prime was a subset of u because this u intersection u v prime. So, u prime is a subset of u, and so what we have is and this gives us that our n u u is infinite. there is another aspect that we should know about our non-wandering points, and that is, we take up the next proposition. Now, the proof here is very simple. Now, without loss of generality, we can say that my omega f is not an empty set, because if omega f is empty set, anyway it is vacuously true, right. So, just assume that omega f is non-empty. Since omega f is non-empty, we know that this set could be the whole of X. So, we have either again, if it is X, it is closed and invariant, right, or we have that the set of wandering points is non-empty, right. So, this is non-empty. Now, in the first case, right, again it is vacuously true, it is closed and invariant. So, we look into the second case. So, let X belongs to the complement of omega f, that means X is a wandering point. Now, since X is a wandering point, we know by definition there exists a neighborhood u naught such that Fn of u naught intersection u naught is empty, right, for every n in n. Now, think of that, we have assumed that our u naught is an open set, right, and so u naught is not only a neighborhood of X, right, it is a neighborhood of all the points contained in u naught, and for all these points what do we have? We have a neighborhood for all those points such that Fn of u naught intersection u naught is empty, right, for every n in n. And what does that mean? My u naught itself should be a subset of, right. So, u naught itself is a subset of the complement of set of non-wandering points, or basically it consists of all wandering points. U naught itself consists of wandering points, and that means that omega f complement is open. Typical way of showing that a set is closed. So, we know that the set of wandering points happens to be open, and so the set of non-wandering points is a closed set. Now, we want to show that it is invariant. Now, we have already seen in one of the propositions here that the set of recurrent points, right, is a subset of the set of non-wandering points, and we had seen in one of the propositions previously, in one of the previous lectures, that the set of recurrent points happens to be invariant. Now, let us look into the other part. The set of recurrent points happens to be invariant, right. So, what can we say about this part? Or let us look into this from a different angle. Maybe I still need to define something more about the closure of recurrent point. So, let me try to look into another part here. Let my X be a non-wandering point, and let my u be a neighborhood of Fx. Now, u is a neighborhood of Fx. We simply note that the hitting set F inverse u will be a subset of n u u. It is very small observation, can see that, right. So, F inverse u, F inverse u is a subset of n u u. Now, what do we know about F inverse u? F inverse u is again an open set and it is a neighborhood of X, right. So, your n in F inverse u should be infinite, right, and hence nu u is infinite, right. So, nu u is infinite. And basically we just wanted one n, right. So, we can say that f of x belongs to omega f and hence omega f is invariant, right. So, we know that omega f is closed and invariant, right. So, my f of x belongs to omega f. Now, here we just looked into this concept. So, let me try to define a little bit more on this particular concept. My set of recurrent points is contained in the set of non-wandering points. Just let us look into this concept. The set of recurrent points is contained in the set of non-wandering points. Let us look into this part once again. Now, for this, getting a little bit more into details into this, let us look into this particular proposition which explains something more. You take any x in x, right, then the limit set of x is contained in non-wandering. So, any point in the limit set happens to be non-wandering, right, and that clearly gives you why we have the capital and the small omegas over here. So, the proof here is not very difficult. So, we start with limit set can be empty also, right, then there is nothing to prove. So, we start with our limit set to be non-empty. So, since the limit set is non-empty, we can choose a point y in the limit set. So, let y belongs to the limit set and let u be a neighbourhood of y. Now, since u is a neighbourhood of y, we know that y is a limit point, right. So, that means that u contains infinitely many points of the orbit of x, right. So, u contains infinitely many f k x for k belongs to n. So, in particular I am choosing two such k's, right. So, let f r of x and f t of x belong to u, and I can always choose my r to be greater than t. R is greater than t, which would mean that my r minus t will be greater than or equal to 1. Now, what happens in that case now? F r x belongs to u, f t x belongs to u, right. I can simply say that f of r minus t of u intersection u is non-empty. So, take any point in the limit set, right. For every neighbourhood you find some natural number such that f n of u intersection u is non-empty, right, and so my y belongs to omega, right. So, the limit points, all limit points are basically non-wandering, and this gives us a little bit more details about what we can say about recurrence. Now, we have seen that our recurrent set, right, R f is an invariant set, but we did not know that it is a closed set. So, the set of recurrent sets need not be closed. So, what happens in that sense? Now, we know that R f is a subset of omega f, right. Now, omega f is closed. So, all I can say is that R f closure should be a subset of omega f. Now, R f is not necessarily closed. So, that means RF closure is a set which is bigger than RF. So, for that we define, say, another definition, right, and I think I will push it up in the next page. So, we define the center of a dynamical system which I am denoting at ZF, the center ZF of a dynamical system XF So, this is not just, this is basically the closure of all recurrent points, and we know that this center will always be subset of non-wandering. So, all points in the center have to be non-wandering points, and we end up today with a small observation that the center is a closed set subset of X. So, the proof again here is quite simple. The center is a closed set because it is the closure of the recurrent points, right. So, this is a closure, and so it is closed. Is it invariant? All we need to check out is that invariant. So, all we know is that RF is invariant, right, and closure of invariant sets is invariant. Now, when we try to look into the properties of chaos, it is very important to look into what is the center of the system. So, once you identify the center of the system, there are many properties which can easily follow from that particular part, and that is what we shall be looking into in the subsequent lectures, but today we stop over here.